Hello, everyone. I was asked to share how I memorized the cervical plexus. I created like a little drawing that implemented two things I found online. One is like a drawing, and one is an acronym. I kind of added them together. So this is, some people really like just memorizing straight up, but I work best whenever I have something I could write down on the scratch paper before the test and look back at if I, get anxious or if I get ahead of myself. And so this helped me a lot. I hope it helps someone. It may help, it may not, but I think it's kind of fun to play with this new little toy. Yeah, let's get into it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by drawing my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's important to remember that your actual cervical plexus is going to be 1 through 4. Don't confuse that with 1 through 5. 5 is just an extra branch that's going to be coming off of the cervical plexus to attach to the phrenic nerve. That's going to be a very important root, but remember that is not a part of the cervical plexus. So what we're going to do after we draw our 1 through 5, we're going to draw a little hat between 1 and 2, 2 and 3, 3 and 4. So remember, we're just going 1 through 4 for our cervical plexus. The first branch I'm going to put is right up here with the 1. It's going to be a long branch. Our second one is going to be between 1 and 2, then between 2 and 3, then between 3 and 4. The last thing I need to make sure that I draw is a little Y off of the 2 and 3, and I'll explain why in just a second. So, like I said, I have a little drawing. This is the main drawing, and then I have a acronym that will actually help you remember the branches from top to bottom. That acronym is going to be Real Ladies Go to School. Now, that's a very important acronym to remember, but another thing to remember is that there's an extra branch coming off the 1, so whenever you think real or R, I want you to remember RTG. I'll explain why in a second, but remember it's Real Ladies Go to School, and then you need to remember next to R is TG. So let me kind of show us where we're at. It's important to remember that on top of this 1, you also have this very important nerve coming through. What nerve is that? It's going to be the hypoglossal. So that's going to be a very important nerve to remember because that's going to run alongside this right here. And you're going to have another branch coming here. This is your 12, right, our hypoglossal. And then you're going to have your 10 running right here in between 2 and 3. So those are two really important landmarks to remember off of our 1. It's going to be our hypoglossal. Off of our 2 to between our 2 and 3, or between our 1 and 2 is going to be our vagus nerve. So starting at the very top, we're going to have R, which is our rectus capitis. Rectus capitis. Now I want you to remember that it's our anterior and lateralis. Right? So we have our rectus capitis, anterior, and lateralis. The T and G that were very important that I said that we need to remember is going to be our thyrohyoid and our geniohyoid. Now, that's very important to remember because if there's a question on the exam that says, what nerve does the thyrohyoid receive its innervation from? It's not going to be one of the nerves that are like the facial nerve or the mandibular nerve. It's going to be a nerve, a branch of the cervical 1 plexus. So L is going to be our lesser occipital. Sorry, I didn't leave much room to write that. Our lesser occipital is going to be our 2, or our second one. So if the question is what comes off of our cervical 1, it's going to be your thyrohyoid, your geniohyoid, your rectus capitis anterior and lateral. If it's what it comes off of 1 and 2, it's going to be your lesser occipital. So that's kind of how we're going to be able to read this map. Between 2 and 3, we're going to have our G and our T. It's going to be our greater auricular, which remember is going to be around our ear. And then we're going to have our transverse cervicalis. And then lastly, we're going to have our S, which is going to be our supraclavicular nerve. So, quick run through, we have our R, which is our rectus capitis anterior lateral. We have our T and our G, which is our thyrohyoid, geniohyoid. We have our L, which is our lesser occipital. We have our G, which is our greater auricular. We have our T, which is our transverse cervicalis. And we have our S, which is our supraclavicular. Now, like I was saying, the important thing that we need to remember is that there's actually a very, very, very important nerve that runs off of this 3, 4, 5. Now, what nerve might that be? The phrenic, right? This is a very, very, very important nerve because it kind of helps us breathe. If we don't have that, not a good thing. We can't use our diaphragm. Or, if you break unilateral, then you can only use one side of your diaphragm. If you break both of them, or tear both of them, you're not able to breathe. And then we do have one more special nerve, and it's less of a nerve and more of a complex, and it's our ansa cervicalis, also known as our ansa loop. So this is a very easy one to remember because it's our SOS muscles. This is our two sternos and our omo. So our sternohyoid, our omohyoid, and our sternothyroid. Awesome. So real quick run through. We have our real ladies go to school. We have our real, that's going to be our rectus capitis anterior lateralis. Then we have our T and G, which you're going to remember is also going to come with that rectus capitis anterior lateral. It's your thyroid geniohyoid. And then you're going to have your greater auricular, your transverse cervicalis, and your supraclavicular. On the left side, you're going to draw your ansa cervicalis, which is your SOS muscles, your sternohyoid, your omohyoid, your sternothyroid. On the 3, 4, 5, the saying 3, 4, 5 keeps you alive. Your 3, 4, and 5 is going to be your phrenic nerve. And this is how you draw this before your test. So if there's a question such as what comes off of your 1, 2, 3, you know that it's one of your sternohyoid, omohyoid, or sternothyroid. So that's how I remember it. I hope that helps someone. Yeah, thank you.